How hard is it to juggle knowing you're on a show, that you can't do anything that would get you kicked off the show, but also being so mad you want to grab him and slap the piss out of him? There are a lot of survival shows on TV, but none are quite like Outlast, which is now streaming on Netflix. Strangers are dumped out in the wilderness of Alaska, but they have to form teams. Whatever team can outlast the others gets to share $1 million, and I'm joined right now by two of the guys on Outlast who went pretty far. Drew and Drake, thank you guys for being on the show, and my first question is, you guys seem to form a bond almost immediately. Did that really happen as quickly as it looked on TV, and was it because you guys are both from Texas, or, you know, what caused this friendship?
So I'm not really sure if it was both the fact that we were from Texas or the fact that we're very close in age, but we both had the same kind of humor. And once we kind of started speaking to each other, it was pretty much like an instant friendship that kicked off without a hitch. I was talking to him for maybe a couple hours, and it felt like I knew the guy my entire life.
Yeah, I feel like it immediately came through on the show, and it was the kind of thing that makes a viewer watch and say, okay, I like these guys, I'm going to pull for them.
It was our bond, and then our upbeat kind of attitude had so much to do with the results that came of this show, and that speaks volumes. It just goes back to a happy mind, happy body, and so on.
Now, I know you guys are super prepared outdoorsmen. There's so many things you know, so many things you think you know. But was there anything in particular that once you got out there and you were living in the wilderness of Alaska that you were like, man, I wish I would have known this before I got here?
I wish I would have been. I mean, as far as food and things like that, I wish I would have just packed on more fat before I went out there, because that I wasn't prepared for how rapid I was going to lose weight going out there.
Well, speaking of losing weight and calories, you guys ate some pretty gross stuff when you were out there. What was that like?
I'm really kind of like a garbage disposal. I don't discriminate against food. If it's gonna give me nutrition and give me some energy, I'm gonna eat it. And there was multiple times that we were out there that, maybe we found something or caught something that everyone else was like, "Oh no, I'm not eating that." I ate it. I think it paid off for me.
Well, no spoilers, but I think it's fair to say that it did. Now, what I really want to talk about is that moment in the premiere when Bio shows up, steals your supplies. I know as a viewer, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, what is going on here? But for you guys, in the moment, what was that like when it happened?
When it happened, I saw that he had a pot and a canister, and like immediately I was like, my brain wasn't even thinking like, oh, he just stole that. I'm like, but then it was like he was kind of acting weird, and then I was like, did he come over here with their pot? Like, and I was just confused for a second, and then he started making comments and dumped everything out, and it was just like, poof, and it was like a light switch went off, and I was just heated immediately.
I work in reality TV. I know what it's like. You know, there are cameras there are things like that. You always know that you're on a show. But when something like that happens, how hard is it to juggle knowing you're on a show, that you can't do anything that would get you kicked off the show, but also being so mad you want to grab him and slap the piss out of him?
It was fairly hard, to keep my cool and, knowing that everything happens for a reason. And if you've watched the show, then you would notice that it really did happen for a reason. And he ended up being the first one going home. So when it happened, yeah, I was very upset. And it did take a lot for me to not physically attack him. But like I said, it paid off in the long run. And I'm glad that I kept my cool. And I'm glad that Drew was there to help me keep my cool. And we kind of talked each other down and said, hey, everything's going to work out. God's going to make a plan for us. And this is his plan. And that's the way it worked out.
Well, as far as the show goes, I mean, obviously, splitting $1 million is totally a reason to want to do it. But was that the main reason, or was this something you guys wanted to do to go out there, see if you could do it, prove it to yourself that this was possible?
So really, I went out there just to really test myself. I wasn't sure that I was going to be in the end. I wasn't sure that I was going to win. And so it was more of a true test to myself of how strong am I mentally? How much is my body capable of before it gives out? And I really also just wanted to show my children that, if there's something that you see in the future of yourself, really go for it. Give it your best shot. Don't half-ass it, and really just push and push and push until you got nothing left in the tank.
Well, I love the show, and I have to say you guys have inspired me. Maybe not to go out to Alaska, but, maybe I'll set up a tent in the backyard and sleep out there tonight.
But you'll gain a lot of respect for the outdoors just sleeping in a tent on the ground for a night.
All episodes of Season 2 of Outlast are now streaming on Netflix. Everybody should check it out. And thank you guys so much for being on Gary Talks.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.